Hi folks, Ricky Tang here, and you find me in the basement area of BMW Motorrad. Well, not just the Motorrad section, but the car section as well. And I'm here to take out this thing. The BMW R18 Transcontinental. And Ryan, the sales guy who kind of got me down here on this bike, although he knows I've got experience of riding big heavy bikes, it did take time to just tell me, just to warn me about the weight of this bike, but be careful with your foot positioning if you haven't ridden one of these before, which I haven't, so I appreciate that. Gosh, quite a rock when you first start the bike. And look at this for a dashboard. Power reserve meter like Rolls-Royce cars, rev counter, speedo and fuel gauge, and luckily I got lots of fuel on board so I can get a bit used to the bike before I have to worry about stopping and topping up. Let's take this fantastic beast out for a ride. So I'm just taking my time here. Make sure there's no mistakes while I get used to the weight of this beast. First challenge, getting up this little ramp. Nice and easy. The front's not fighting me very much either. It's not kind of flopping in. Not too much, did a little bit, but considering the weight of the bike and the wheelbase, that was quite impressive. I feel a bit like a noob, like a new rider, just trying to manage this. I can feel very much that at slow speeds it pays to keep this bike upright. Well, I can't wait till I get a few miles per hour under my wheels. And definitely putting both feet down at a stop for starters. There we go. We've got a heel and toe shifting, and yeah, the gear lever at the front of the foot is not set up for going up the box. You can't really get your foot under the lever because of the footboard that you've got for this bike, or footboards. So you're forced to use the heel to go up the box, which is fine. It's just a matter of getting used to it. You use the front one for going down the box once I've found the lever, which is taking a bit of doing. We do have 6 gears, and now I'm doing about 70 here, and we're turning over at 2,500 RPM, which is not much higher than what my car does, my 2-litre car, when I'm cruising on the motorway. But here on the dual carriageway, first impressions, my first bit of speed. The thing that jumps out at me is the seat initially. Very comfortable, quite wide, cupping my buttocks. As you know, with the boxer engine style, you can't really put your feet out or your legs out very far, like on a Harley or other big custom bike. So it's a kind of a sit-out kind of style riding position, not a lean back or stretch back riding position. But there's nothing inherently wrong with that, as far as I can tell. Power output is about 91 PS, so about 91 horsepower-ish. Unfortunately, I can't quite remember the revs for that, but not very many. We've got 150 Newton meters of torque, which is the most torque of any boxer engine. You'll probably be not surprised to learn. I think it's over 150, but 150 Newton meters is available between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM. So lots of grunt, right where you need it. I've got to admit, a little unusual to see analog rev counter and speedo on a lot of bikes I ride nowadays. It's all digital. So my eyes are like a bit confused about where to look, especially for the revs. I keep looking at the massive 10.5-inch LCD screen there. At these slow speeds, There is some vibration, but it's just big, chunky, forceful vibration. Nothing annoying. Handlebar position, very natural. I am 5'7" or 170 centimeters. I don't think I've started shrinking yet. And I weigh about 80 kilos in my riding gear, I would say. And I've got a 32-inch inside leg. I would say even with a 28-inch inside leg, you'll be getting both feet on the floor. Oh, what a blessing. We also got hill hold. I've used a heel and toe shifter before. Most recently, strangely enough, on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. so muscle memory will kick in before too long. The footboards that we got here on the bike feel absolutely luxurious. That is unusual, to be putting my feet on a platform like this rather than on foot pegs. Feels great. Oh, we got a burble through the exhaust when we slow down. Oh, that's nice. I went over a speed hump there, and the suspension is actually really well damped. I'll hit another speed hump for you in the name of science. Oh, very nice. There's no sense of kind of smacking into that speed hump. Suspension kind of complied with the bump nicely, up and down. Felt nice and smooth. At these slow speeds, again, BMW's kind of worked miracles, I think. It's such a heavy, long bike, but the front end isn't too heavy at all at slow speeds. Just going around junctions and into the next road. You're not fighting it, it's not a struggle. One thing that I hope, and I hope I won't get disappointed, is that the horn on this bike befits and suits the shape and the size and the look of this bike. And it's not just a little meep meep. Ah, fingers crossed. Ah, that's not bad. You know, I would have liked dual tone, two-tone horn, but it's better than most motorbike horns, I would say. Right, so I'm about to get into a road near home. It's one of the most poorly surfaced roads in the city. And this is it. And it's still not really slapping me around too much. And swinging in and out is easy. Yeah, that's alright, that. It's not quite a magic carpet kind of sensation, but it is impressive. Now, I might get the size of the discs wrong, but I think they're 320mm. Not just at the front, but at the back as well. Basically, the discs are identical, front and rear, or identical diameter anyway, and there's 4 piston calipers all around. That's some serious braking spec there. This dashboard's not showing me very much apart from the Boxer twin engine. Is there any other displays I can get to? You know, like a general riding display? I'm not sure. Let's have a crack at the radio.
Shuttle. People can buy Mary shirts. She's got a lot of fans. She's got a lot of people that support her because
Talk radio
she's Manchester United's #1 goalkeeper. She's England's #1 goalkeeper.
Quite easy to listen
she's the world's best goalkeeper, and she is a bit of a star, and she should be able to capitalise on that.
Yeah, the acceleration is pretty good, pretty forceful. The 90 horsepower and over 400 kilograms wet. It's still faster than most cars, I would say. So my plan, since this is a cruising bike, is to do a bit of a cruise. Not a huge one, but I'm just going to go down a few junctions down the M5, soaking up the views. We got cruise control. Oh, we've got adaptive cruise as well. So that's something I want to figure out. Well, that was easy. It looks like adaptive cruise is default. This is my first try at adaptive cruise. Okay, so let me get the camera in the right place. So once you've enabled cruise in the normal way on the BMW, push that top switch to the side and push that little toggle button forward or backwards, you're in cruise. But adaptive cruise is on as default on this bike at the moment. So to control the distance to the vehicle in front, you have a little button there on the switch gear, and then you've got the display and top middle of the LCD. So that's with 1 bar, that's the closest following mode. 3 bars is a most distant following mode. 2 bars in between. Right, so now I've figured that out, I'm going to pass this truck in a minute. I'm doing 55 behind this truck. My cruise is set to 68. So once this car's past me, there we go, we're accelerating naturally. Oh, that's nice. I changed gear with the clutch and adaptive cruise is still active. It does that for going up the box. Does it do it for going down? Yes, it does. Very nice. So my cruising speed is now slightly naughty, 74. Not too bad really in the grand scheme of things. Just waiting to catch up with the car in front. There you go, I've dropped to 72, 71. I'm not doing anything, the bike's just taking care of it. I'm happy with my distance. That's all very refined. So now we've kind of got that under our belt, kind of understood to some degree. What's the rest of the bike like? Well, I've got to say, I'm getting next to no wind pressure on any part of my body. I'm quite surprised. Earlier on when I was doing maybe 60-ish on the dual carriageway, I was getting some buffeting hitting the top of my crash helmet, but at 75 I'm not. Well, it's much reduced. No wind pressure on my chest at all, literally a little air pocket of my own. I'm getting a little bit of tugging at the bottom of my jeans, a little bit of wind tugging at it, but no pressure. Those big cylinders are helping down there. This is surprisingly comfortable in terms of wind blast. There isn't any at all. But if you're taller or shorter than me, your experience may be different. Let's raise my visor, see what it's like with the visor up at 70-ish. I can feel there's a little bit of twittering, turbulence up there, but not a lot. But no fluttering in the eyes at all. Nothing. That's really impressive. Mind you, I am looking through the screen, not above it. Which is fine when the screen is nice and clean. But if I was a lot taller, the screen could be in the way of my eye line. And if I look over the screen, then it starts to get a bit windy, unsurprisingly, at my crash helmet level. You wouldn't believe this. You'll probably, I'll see you in the comments, but I wouldn't mind a lane departure warning like you do have with cars. Now, I don't know about it taking control of the steering for you. One day that'll probably happen if motorcycles continue to be allowed on the road 20, 30, 40 years time. But lane departure is a nice thing on cars, I find, personally. I will say, at 64 miles an hour, there's a bit of audible roar, wind roar maybe, whipping around the plastic somewhere. Sounds a little bit like a jet passing you overhead. So it might be kind of inside the fairing somewhere. It'd be nice if it wasn't there. But it's not a big issue really. I've got to say, I do wish the mirrors were bigger. Everything on this bike is big. I'm not quite sure why the mirrors are not. Quite small round affairs. I can't see that much behind me. I mean, I can see, my arms are not in the way. I can see a lot, but the surface area is quite small. I would have preferred larger mirrors personally, I think. Oh, what we got on assist here? Oh, cruise control. ACC characteristics. Really? Comfortable? And dynamic. Go on then. I think that's the acceleration when you pull out away from something that was slowing you down on the road. See what that does for us. Oh, still pretty gentle, but then it didn't have far to accelerate to get up to speed, I guess. Suspension is well damped. Haven't really noticed any big bumps here on the motorway. This motorway isn't one of the best. There are bumps. I feel them in my car. Oh, I'm in roll mode as well, aren't I? So let's put the road into rock. Oh! Oh dear. The throttle response has just become a lot more urgent. Let's give it a handful. Certainly feels angrier. There's not a big difference in acceleration. When you're staying in gear and you want to accelerate suddenly, that first twist is quite a bit more immediate. I'm liking that. Now my phone has been quietly, hopefully, charging down here. Let's find out. Well, it doesn't feel very warm. No, it hasn't been charging, so that's something I have to enable apparently. Oh, that's just a bit of a shame. There's your fuel cap there. But no, it's certainly not charging apparently, which is a bit of a shame. Now, one thing that is a bit of an effort, I've got to admit, is getting the bike upright from the side stand. If you're on a bit of a camber, you've got to brace yourself. It takes quite a bit of an effort to get the bike upright. So we're here at 40 miles an hour. It's getting to fifth. Or fifth, it feels almost like it's ticking over 40 miles an hour. That's just over 1500 RPM. Oh, we'll accelerate though. Throttle transition between on and off has been generally well behaved. I found a little bit of surging earlier on in first gear. I'd have to try it again to be certain about that. Yeah, just coming on and off the throttle at, well, literally about 1400 RPM in first. You get a little bit of a shudder there, a little bit of a shunt, but not much. It's bloody good, basically, really, with such a massive engine. This riding position, I've got to say also, it's quite easy to, well, if you've got decent mobility in your neck anyway, it's nice and easy to turn around. Not a difficulty when sometimes you're leaning more forward on a bike. It can be hard to get a good rearward glance. No such problems here. If I did a lot of long distance touring, which I don't, and if I could manage such a heavy bike on different road surfaces, which I don't think I can, I'd want one of these bikes in my stable, I think, or my shed. It's just, yeah, racking up the miles with ease. And of course, with this model, yes, you are spending a lot of money, but it comes with the panniers and the top box. I think we're talking 26.5 litres, something like that, in the panniers. Down from, I think, 27 because of the audio on this bike. And I believe the top box was 47 litres, maybe 46 with the speakers in it, something along those lines. Wow, this bike certainly picks up some. So just then I got up to speed, but I left it in 4th gear. I gotta admit, there was a fair bit of vibration through the footboards. I'll have to look at the revs, but I guess only about 3,500 RPM. But when I got it to 6th gear and the revs dropped, it was much smoother. So it does seem quite vibratory. Quite a few vibes going on at 4,000 RPM. I don't think I'd want to spend too much time there, and that's not what it's designed for anyway. So passenger footboards as well. Glorious. Very, very pleased with the footboards. They're a very relaxing place to put your feet instead of foot pegs. I'm quite turned on to footboards now. Look at that mudguard as well. That is a very stylish rear end, in my opinion. Styling is subjective, but looking pretty nice at the back. 180/65 B16, so 16-inch wheel at the back, believe it or not, and 120/70/19 at the front, so 19 front, 16 back. Well, in my experience, it's rather unusual, but maybe in cruiser terms, not so much. Wow, steering damper. I wouldn't expected to see that. So yeah, that's nice. And they did make a mention on the website about how nicely welded the frame is, and you've got to say, even though they are covered in paint or powder coat, yeah, the welds there do look pretty smooth. I am kind of running over now. I've been on this bike too long, so I'm going to disappear. Had a lovely ride on it. As long as you don't chase the revs and let the revs go too high, feels very smooth and very comfortable. Maybe if you're more of an autobahn rider, perhaps this bike wouldn't be so good at sustained high speeds like 100 miles an hour cruising. That's maybe where you go K1600 instead, although that is a different style. Although there's a K1600 bagger, isn't there? Anyway, I digress. Okay folks, I'm off. Take care of yourselves. See you in another video soon. Ta-da!